Hi, I'm peices, and this is HOI4, where we are starting a new playthrough as the German Reich. Okay, so I just wanted to start here at this screen. We're going to be playing on a regular difficulty. We've got a different way of fixing up the difficulty. Historical focuses on, of course, and no special rules. So everything is fine just there. We won't be playing on Iron Man because I like to be able to do saves after each. Alright, so you can see right away here that we are playing a modded playthrough. So we've got expert AI. This is updated to the latest patch 1.12.13 as of the time of recording. We can get rid of that. We will be putting this one into historical. I think that makes for a more fun game. We'll pop this one up to very hard. I think over here in the advanced configuration, we will leave this be. We can give the AI some free convoys. That just means we can't starve them out of convoys completely. And they'll gain, I think, 100 convoys if they have less than 50 convoys at the end of the month. It's not that big of a deal. And we don't really need to do very much here. I will puppet Egypt, I think. I find that this one does make the African front a little bit more fun. We don't need to do anything more here. Spain is set to neutral, so they shouldn't be joining unless we do something towards them. We will favor Japan in the Sino-Japanese War. That means that Japan will actually be able to conquer most of China. It should be a little bit more fun if we end up at war with Japan, which we might do this campaign once we're done with the other things. So that's all for the expert AI settings. I've also got two more mods installed. One that changes a little bit with some of the air modules. So we'll go through those as we stumble across them. And the other one changes some small things with the order of battle and national focus tree for Germany. So right off the bat, you'll see here that the Dornier 22 is now called the Heinkel 59, and it's a two-engine torpedo bomber. So it's basically the same thing, but more expensive. The HE59 is one that Germany actually had in the time period. The Dornier 22 was first flew in 38 or something like that. I've also added in the Ju-89 as a prototype interwar large airframe here. And there's some small changes to some of these. You might have seen that the Bf-109 does not look like it does in vanilla. It's only got two machine guns, and it's got non-strategic materials from the start. So it's actually worse than the vanilla version. And that kind of goes for all the changes I've made, except for one with the ships here. And that is that the Leipzig class, which is based off the Königsberg. Königsberg has a engine level 2, and so does the Leipzig now. In vanilla, this one is level 1. There's some small changes to several of the designs. Destroyers are all early types now. And we will be designing our 1936 destroyers ourselves, as it should be. And there's some small changes to the national focus tree. I have made so that Plan C and Hubert effort aren't mutually exclusive anymore. That'll just open up this part of the tree for us a little bit more efficiently. We won't be going down Plan Z anytime soon anyway, but just that we have the option there at least. And I've also changed around some of these air effort ones. These aren't mutually exclusive anymore, and they give a little bit less bonuses. It should be a little bit more fun to play with. Also, the this one actually requires you to have the tank designs. So before you unlock them, so the Panzer IV is unlocked with the improved medium tank chassis instead of the basic medium tank chassis. I think that makes a little bit more sense, and it's a nerf to Germany essentially for the way we're playing, but it makes it more fun that way. Alright, let's get the research out of the way here. So we want to start with what everyone starts with, of course, electrical mechanical engineering. basic machine tools and construction. And we've got a pause slot because we're playing Germany. Gonna go into naval support, and we're gonna pick up the armor-piercing capped shells for the only reason that it's a 49-day research, and we're gonna need this slot sometime soon. And I want a short research because I can't be bothered doing any research juggling. So there you have it. And we're also gonna do some construction. I'm gonna start off with building 3 dockyards here in Hanover. I'm gonna be building some infrastructure in Königsberg, in Thüringen, over here in Moselland, Ermland-Mesur, and Niederschlesien. And then we also want to be building some I want to be building a bunch of civilian factories down here in Moselland as well, just so we get started on them. So we're building a little bit of infrastructure. We aren't going for the Reich early, so that's our way of doing it at this playthrough. As for national focuses, there is only one choice. We're going Rhineland, as every historical playthrough should be. And we are running a historical playthrough, at least up until the war, and then we will do our best to conquer the world. As it should be. Alright, so we got loads of troops here. Let's just bump them in there for now. We're going to be splitting them up a little bit later on, where that gets rid of the pop-up. We don't think we need anything there. We do want to quickly tab into the list here. We're going to go for the fascist countries and our friends down here in Japan. No, we can't really do anything with Japan yet. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Aircraft, let's just grab them all, fly them to Berlin, and we will deal with them there in a little bit. So let's head back over to a sane view. As for production here, let's start off with the ships because they're the easiest. We're just gonna max everything out here, and we don't want to have 4 different lines of Type 2 submarines, but these were all being built, so we're gonna remove them from there and we're just gonna add them on there. It's still 8, but they are in a little bit easier way to manage. We do want to start getting all of these ships out. Now the Scharnhorsts, we do have a little bit of a deficit here on chromium, so let's do it that way. We will be adding another unit of chromium sometime soon, as the infrastructure in Thüringen here gets finished. And we'll do the same thing for the destroyers here. We'll bump this one up to 10 and these down to 1. Just consolidate the lines into a single one. And we'll do the same thing here. Just makes it so that the factories will be allocated a little bit more evenly as they get. We probably don't want to have that many producing those. We do want to have as much as possible to produce these other ones. Let's just keep 2 there and 2 there for now. Let's move the Scharnhorst up because we do want to have the factories fill these ships out first. And the we probably don't have to deal with anything else here. Let's just make sure that we get them into the correct fleets. And we'll have them into the different navies here. And we want to have most go into the all the submarines can go into the Ausbildungsgruppe, or the training group, and all the ships can go into the high sea fleet for now. And we will deal with them a little bit later on. We will of course be needing a navy this playthrough. We are going to be invading a lot of countries by sea. And at this point in history, Germany had not given up the thought of naval superiority. We do need to add a few different things here as well. So we're going to be needing to add some, we're going to be needing some trains. We do want to get some anti-air going. We also want to have some, well, we already have a line of artillery. We do want to have some aircraft, but yeah, we need to press a different button for that, of course. Let's go ahead and add the artillery. We don't want to be building any of these tanks. Well, we have a line of Panzer IIs, that's fine. We do want to replace the Panzer Is we have in service. So we do want to add some Dornier 17s. Now these are interwar close air support airframes. But they're okay. We want to start setting up some of these. They were used quite a lot in the real war, so we want to have a few of those as well. We also want to make sure to get some transport aircraft, but before we do that, we can't have our transport aircraft just be named transports, can we? They are the Ju-52s. Let's add a few of those in there. And let's also add in some Junkers 89s. They were starting to prototype the 4-engine bombers, or heavy bombers, at this point in time. And now we also want to have some more, probably want to have another factory producing BF-109s. And that leaves us with one factory here. Where do we want to put that one? Do we have anything more here that we want to building? No. Let's tack that one into support equipment for now. We probably want to reorganize these just a little bit. Let's get the aircraft up so that they are all aligned. Heinkers are more important than these other ones. That's going to be fine. Trains up to the top, logistics are important. And let's grab the anti-air and put them underneath there. Before we do anything else though, we want to go in and add a few more submarines. So in 1936 there were 10 Type 7A class submarines, and these are nothing special. And we will take these as they are. Could we add the A there? Let's add a few of these in. Let's have them deploy into the proper submarine fleet. We want to go into the naval screen here and set our submarines to repair and train. And our proper fleet here, we'll set them to repair at will as well, and we'll shift click naval exercises here. We do need a lot of naval experience, and this will help build that up at the cost of our depleting our fuel stockpiles, of course. And our aircraft here, let's just for now set them all to specialized air wings so that they don't reinforce with anything that they shouldn't be reinforcing with. We want to make sure to send the proper aircraft down to Spain when the time comes. Now I think we've also run a small deficit of rubber here, so let's knock on France's door. Giving factories to them will be factories we gain in the future, hopefully. So we will trade for some rubber from them. Oh yeah, that needs a tick before it updates. And what more can we do before we start off the clock here? Oh yeah, we need to do some. We need to add some infantry. Let's add 3 lines of I don't know, 16. We're going to be needing a lot of infantry. We could build some more panzer divisions too, but we can wait a little bit with that, I think. We're not going to be sending tanks down to Spain, we're going to be sending infantry down. Alright, so do we want to deal with this right now? Let's just do it this way. We can probably send 3 of them. Let's split these up. And I will do the order of battle and be back right here in a second. With a little bit of magic, we are now done with the order of battle. So I've colorized them, I've named them, and I've assigned their commanders. So up here we've got the Heeresgruppe A. I've designed them in a way that makes more sense in the game. So we've got the East Command, the West Command, and the Panzerkommando, or Oberkommando Ost, Oberkommando West. And the Panzers, of course, were in these commands in real life, but I like to keep them separate so we can make more use of the traits. We start up here. We're gonna have Mr. Bock up here, Theodor von Bock, but we do need some command power to promote him to a field marshal. So until then, it's going to be unassigned, and they of course are responsible for the northern front with Poland here. We're also going to need a garrison command in a bit too. And then we got the Heeresgruppe, which was responsible for the southern flank against Poland. So we've just set the order of battle up in pre-World War II, just before. So in 1939 order of battle. and I've tried to put commanders in the proper places. I've had to use some liberties, of course, because not all commanders are in the game, and some commanders don't really make sense to keep this early on. Then that means we've got George von Culture here on the west side, and in Prussia we've got Gotthard Henrici. Down here on the southern front of Poland, we are set up against Austria and Czechoslovakia at the moment. We got Johannes Blaskowicz. He's set up on the border to Poland, I think. So he's set up here. It's weird that the color of his order hasn't changed. It looks like more blue here. Oh well, doesn't really matter that much. Then we got Ernst Ebenhard Hell on. He's set up on. That's blue down here too. He's set up down here on the Austrian border for now. And we've got Kurt Student set up on the Czechoslovakian border. Student will be the one that's going to Spain. That's why he's only got 3 divisions at the moment. And we've got Wilhelm Lieb. Wilhelm Ritter von Lieb, who's going to be assigned here. He also is not a field marshal yet, so we have to hold off a little bit. And we've got Albert Kesslering on the Dutch and Belgian borders. And we've got Erwin von Wisselben, commanding the first here on the Luxembourg border at the moment. And we've got Frederick Schultz on the French border. And then for the Panzer Corps, these are going to be led by Wilhelm List, who has the inflexible strategist trait. This one yields or allows us to take unyielding defender, which increases defense or breakthrough by 10%. Probably the best trait in the game, but yeah, that's why we've got him there. And we don't have the command power to assign him just yet. Then of course we've got Manstein and Guderian, Sepp Dietrich, Hasse von Manteuffel, and Erwin Rommel. And they're all going to be commanding their own separate panzer armies. I like to do these small groups instead of having one stack of 24. I like to have smaller stacks of, maybe 4 to 6 to 8 tank divisions. We're going to be this will be the Panzer Corps basically. But yeah, that's how we've set that up, and we'll deal with the fleet in a little bit. There's really no point in setting it up until we've accrued enough ships to actually be able to do it. Alright, so a very, very, very long start to the game here. Let's start up the clock here. We want to keep a little bit of an eye out for our political power, because once it hits 10, there we go. We've got a special mission. We're going to go into diplomacy and the country list. We've got our fascist nations here. Let's go to Japan. And we want to improve relations with Japan. This is going to be important for in a little bit. We can also double check that we've actually gotten our rubber from France. Perfect. And everything else looks the way it should be. Let's make sure we've got everything turned on there. And we can probably set our reinforcements priorities too. Garrisons are always high priority, of course. Operations too. Supply can be in the middle. I like to have upgrade that way, and reinforcements down the bottom, so that we upgrade equipment in our divisions first, and then they can be sent as reinforcements again. It takes a little bit longer this way. It ensures that our units receive up-to-date equipment, and they can reallocate the old equipment to things like garrisons when needed. That should be fine. This is probably going to be a decent garrison template, so we can keep with that one as for now. And let's just keep running for a bit there. We are starting to accrue some naval experience. Okay, I think we might want to spread these out a bit. Let's just give them a kind of general garrison order there. We do want to pop into the aircraft here. We're going to be sending some aircraft down to Spain, of course. We can send a booby down there. or Reich Hartmann. And we will set this to a regular air wing. This means that any BF-109s we build will go into this wing. We also want to send down, let's send them up to, let's see, do we just have an airport close by? Yeah, let's send it to Westfall. It doesn't really matter, because Diggers can be there. Let's send our tactical bombers over here for now. And the rest of our fighter wings. We probably want to combine these into 2 functioning wings instead. We're going to be replacing all of these with the BF-109s in a bit anyway. We do need a little bit of air experience though. Let's merge up these 2, and let's merge up these 3. It gives us 2 full-size wings, and let's put them to exercise, just indefinitely for now. And we will also grab the Stukas, the Sturzkampfgeschwader, and we will fly them down. They're not Stukas yet though. They are currently Heinkel 123s. But they have the same, or will allow reinforcements here too. Daytime only. And we'll collect them up there in Westfall, so we know where to have them when the Spanish Civil War starts. And see what we are. We've got a few more days here. And it's going to be the next thing that actually happens here. But we should be getting enough. Oh, here we go. Italy moves to annex the Sultanate of Ossa. Rumors are swirling that the annexation of the Sultanate of Ossa by the Italian forces may be imminent. Italian troops have been seen amassing on the border of the isolated nation, and sources indicate that pressure is being exerted diplomatically in Ossa to force a capitulation without bloodshed. It remains to be seen whether Mohammed Yayo can resist the Italian pressure, but the situation does not look promising. Oh, how dreadful. And of course the Sultanate of Ossa submits to Italian demands. Perhaps unsurprisingly to many, the Sultanate of Ossa has accepted the Italian demands for subjugation. While the Afar government held out, hoping of avoiding occupation, it became increasingly clear that the colonial powers of the region would not be coming to the raid, nor would neighboring Ethiopia be able to spare military personnel to support them. With the situation so bleak, the government bowed to Italian pressure to spare the people becoming the victims of unnecessary bloodshed. Italian forces are now moving into the small nation to take up new positions on the border with Ethiopia. It is unclear whether the occupation will be permanent, or how it will impact the wider Italian conflict with Ethiopia. Unsurprising, unfortunately. Alright, so we should be having just a few days left here. There is a little bit more we want to do. We want to make sure that we can grab some licenses from Japan. So let's click that one. And of course the accepted. So that means we can go back here, and we should be able to stop improving relations. We have almost full relations now. So let's get rid of that and spare our political powers for our own good instead. The air experience is gaining very, very slowly, and it does cost us quite a lot of aircraft to do these kind of exercises. Okay, so we've got our transports here. Let's ship them away as well. Oberbayern, yeah, we can keep them down in Oberbayern, that's fine. So we've already lost 5 aircraft, and we've gotten half a point of experience. We do need at least 1 experience point for now, so that we can do things as we need them. Alright, so we finally finished the armor-piercing capped shells. Now this was the shortest research we could find. And that is because if we are going to get a Graf Zeppelin out on time, we need to start researching carriers just now. But just doing that is a little bit on the tough side as well. You can see here that's 320 days, and we've already spent 50 days in game. That means it puts them into 1937. How good that we do have a friend over here in Japan, so we can request some license productions. Let's go down here and well, let's select the Akagi here. The Graf Zeppelin was roughly based on the Akagi. Now the Graf Zeppelin was a huge aircraft carrier, and it was built on the kind of some of the technical basis of the Akagi class. So we can do that and still feel that it is fairly historical. We'll just let them accept that. And let's pop that back down here into the tech tree. And now we have gotten a 20% research boost for our deck carriers. Let's get started. Now the Graf Zeppelin was a purpose-built aircraft carrier, so of course we do need to unlock the 1936 hulls. And we will go through the design of the Graf Zeppelin a little bit more when we are designing it in-game. That of course gives us access to the Akagi class. We could start building them already now. Our naval dockyards are occupied doing other things at the moment. Just trying to clear out this queue. We can probably move this one down a little bit. We want to have the hipper done as soon as possible. And we can move those down and these down. That should just get the dockyards going where we want them to be later on. Actually, let's just put 2 on the hipper as well. Let's get these singular ones done first. I can get the Deutschland done as soon as possible though. Alright, let's get those out of the way and let's keep playing. We do need to keep a little bit of an eye out for Spain. They usually start their civil war in the summer. But it's not set on a specific date anymore, as it should be with all the new things there. Alright, so we finished the Rhineland focus. This of course demilitarizes the Rhineland. And we get a bunch of things to read there as well. Rhineland has been demilitarized since the end of the Great War, but this insult shall stand no longer. Germany is a sovereign nation and is free to move troops anywhere within her borders. Now there are plenty of ways we can go from here. Usually you kind of go for either 4-year plan and you start getting these up and you do some research juggling and you can get these 2 research bonuses for industry used a little bit later, or you do another 3 focuses or something and you come back and do these and you use them for the 1939 techs. So we're going to be doing a little bit of that, but I don't like the juggling thing, so let's go and grab naval rearmament. That's 3 more dockyards, and we need all the dockyards we can get if we are ever to be able to compete with the United Kingdom's Navy, or the Royal Navy. And the same thing goes with the United States. They've also got a big navy. Japan, they've also got a big navy. France's navy isn't that big, and the Italian navy will most likely be smashed to pieces by the AI. That means we need to build our own navy, of course. We've got some political power, so let's use that. Now there are plenty of things we can spend this political power on. The normal thing would be to go with Bormann, or Bormann plus Hess. No, yeah, Bormann and Hess for the extra political power gain. However, this does take quite a long time to pay off. Taking the silent workhorse takes about 3 in-game years to pay off. So actually only start netting a positive amount of political power by mid-1939 or something like that. A little bit long for what we're playing. So we're instead going to go with Joseph Goebbels. Now we want to go with Goebbels because he increases the fascism support, and he also increases war support by 10. And something that's important for war support is war economy. War economy requires 50 war support, and to get over that threshold, we do need either the world tension to rise, which we want to keep low as long as possible, or we need to get Joseph Goebbels into our cabinet. So Goebbels it is. We only start with 60% popularity, when the popularity affects stability. So we gain here from ruling party popularity plus 9%. And stability is good, and we need to spend our political powers on other things than doing worker conditions or raids and things like that. Let's get rid of these. Me for bills, keep them, always keep them. You don't need to actually pay anything here until you've signed your first big peace conference, and if you chain all your wars, the first big peace conference you will always be at war with a major, so it won't actually be in effect until you are completely at peace after going to war. So as long as you chain your wars, keep them E4 bills, you'll never have to pay them back until you own the world. So let's just get rid of that. And E4 bills, of course, give you some pretty hefty bonuses, loads and loads and loads of construction speed, and some consumer goods reduction. Political power cost is bad, but that's the way it is. We will lose it when going to war. This is a great way to build up. We've also got the bitter loser and general staff, and Hitler has some traits there as well. Enough waffling about there. The remilitarization of the Rhineland. Germany has stationed troops in the Rhineland territory, close to the French border, in clear violation of the Treaty of Versailles. The local population cheered the German soldiers on, while the diplomatic reactions from France and Britain have so far been muted. It is no more than the Germans walking into their own backyard, a political commentator in Britain observed. It is German territory. This, of course, is a little bit of a theme with this playthrough, isn't it? It is German territory. Alright, so the Turkey remilitarizes the Turkish Straits. That is both of these, the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles. Turkey and the Soviet Union have come to an agreement on revising the Treaty of Lausanne, which was signed and implemented after a nascent Republic of Turkey repulsed the Entente and the Turkish War of Independence. The treaty has long been declared as an assault on Turkish sovereignty, but today the treaty is finally amended in favor of the newly legalized Montreux Convention. Turkey now has complete control over traffic that passes in and out of the Turkish Straits. The states around the straits have now been remilitarized by Turkey. British observers who were part of the process are merely satisfied that conflict in the region has been avoided. Another treaty of the Great War has been broken. And that is the way it goes. Alright, so let's see, we are starting to fill up on some close air support here. Hopefully we'll be able to send down solely Junkers 89s to Spain. We are starting to get some BF 109s in here too, and they will be replacing the Heinkel 51s. And those Heinkels, of course, we go into reinforcing these wings, and we'll be losing a lot of them in training exercises. We need to get, actually I think 1 experience is probably enough, but we're probably going to get something like 5 or 6. Yeah, so we have a little bit of a buffer. Alright, so we finished electromechanical engineering, and the good thing to do here is mechanical computing. Another 4% research speed. I'd rather have it sooner than later. Let's grab that and keep on going. And we finished naval rearmament. The Anglo-German naval agreement we secured in 1935 allows us to expand our navy greatly. We should spare no effort in doing so. That gives us another 3 dockyards. Now I am tempted to go down and just grab loads of dockyards, but we have some other pressing matters. You do need to go down the 4-year plan. Because Hjalmar Schacht is a really good advisor, and the 2 research bonuses for industry is also really powerful. So let's grab those. And as tempting as it would be to select military high command here, we could actually select the chief of army. We could go with Halder and start accruing some army experience. We kind of want to use our political power for something else, and we need to save it a little bit further. That, of course, no, we want to be in here. Being a Krupp. Getting that extra research speed early in the game is really good. It saves us a lot of research time. The Second London Naval Treaty signed. Delegations from Britain, France, Italy, Japan, and the US met in December of 1935 to discuss a renewal of the First London Naval Treaty, which restricted the numbers and size of cruisers and submarines. Negotiations turned to be quite heated over Italy's war in Ethiopia and Japan's desire to be seen as an equal to Britain and the US. With negotiations now at an end, the signatory nations have agreed on limits to the size of battleships and aircraft carriers in the hopes of preventing another ruinous arms race. Why would they restrict themselves like this? Well, of course, we are not bound by the London Naval Treaty, like our dear friends down here in the south are. No, we can't see them, it looks like. Oh well. Okay, so we are starting to deploy some troops here. This is really good. We don't really need to put them anywhere at the moment. We can let them deploy a little bit more. Alright, so we finished the basic machine tools. And this leaves us with the first real choice of this playthrough. And that is concentrated versus dispersed industry. And now for all senses and purposes, dispersed industry is better. It would be better for this playthrough as well. But I think going concentrated industry will be more fun. Because this means that we don't have the production efficiency retention. And we don't have the growth speed that you get from a dispersed. By having a higher base. So this takes a lot longer to actually get the factories working at the higher output, and it's not that much of a higher output. So by doing this, it'll kind of force us to think a little about what our production is, and to keep factories producing things that are older. Something that Germany did quite a lot as well, like keeping the BF-109s into production until the end of the war. So we will go with a concentrated industry, just for it hampers us a little bit, makes the game a little bit more fun. And I'm gonna be, yeah, okay. So let's grab the industrial concern crop here. It'll speed up our industrial research by another 5% or 15% even. And we are doing a lot of it. And we will of course be doing the 1937 techs very soon as well. We are already in May of 1936. But right now, that's going to be it for this time. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you will enjoy this series, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Until then, take care.